Hi there, this is Carina Alyce with Indie Author First Aid, and today we're doing our first in a series related to Amazon A+ content. So today it's going to be Amazon A+ fails. This is me, Carina Alyce. I'm an indie author who spends a lot of her time trying to pick out the best and most effective and cost-effective options for budding authors because it's hard to start. So here we go. Now, if you don't remember, Amazon A+ content is additional images that are supposed to provide information related to your book. Stuff to be aware of is that I'm a romance author, so you're going to see a lot of shirtless guys, and in particular, we're going to focus on what people call the 3-cut image. So let's get to it. Fail number 1. Your main element is too big. So these people might be lovely, but you're supposed to put text in here. This doesn't communicate anything new to me. Where will you put it? Here, no negative space. So if you're going to do that for real, here is negative space. And these white lines are the guidelines of where they do the typical cut in the picture. See that? Negative space. So really hot guy, gonna give her a kiss, love it. You know, put whatever you want in there. Negative space for words. Fail number 2. The picture was too sexy. So I have gotten content approved in approximately 30 seconds from when I submit it. If Amazon for some reason identifies your content as too sexy, they just don't approve it. Now I can say this for sure because these were all images that were turned down. They didn't explain why, and it doesn't specifically say anything in the content, especially because you're allowed to advertise erotica books. You're allowed to advertise a vibrator with Amazon A+ content because it's not just for books. But this is what it did, so beware if your picture is too sexy. So these were not okay. I think they had a real issue with the panties. This was okay. This was also okay. If I had to do this one again, I'd probably move her panties a little bit lower. But the point is, if you don't get approved right away, it's typically something to do with your image. This is the white on white problem. If you work with Amazon, you know that you cannot upload a white cover. White cover just gets absorbed into the background. And it's even worse here because the Amazon background will be white and the lines crossing through Amazon's content will be white. So don't do this. If you wanted to take the same couple, what you would do on Canva is when you go to edit the image, you'd go to the adjust. And so here, I actually took down their brightness and up their contrast so that you can see them better. So if you really want to see that's at -10, doesn't look that different, but it does make them more visible. But the real money actually is when you do this to the background. So you go into the edit the image. The vignette lets you create a sort of spotlight effect on the image. So spotlight, 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 more. Ta-da, now they're in a spotlight. X process I use to make this kind of more of a paranormal look. Maybe it's dystopian. If you wanted to do some type of time travel past, you could go in the opposite direction. That definitely looks much more old-timey. It's still, though, I feel like they need more color to make them stand out. So there you go for them. All right, so that's how to deal with your white-on-white problem. Now, this is the everything is too busy problem. All right, your images need to stand out and they need to meld and go in some way. So this is Las Vegas. It's bright, it's beautiful, it's got a lot going on. Where are you going to put words? Him. He's attractive. There's nothing about him that says Vegas. Maybe he's a stripper. He should be wearing like a police hat and like underwear with a tassel on it. But the fact is he's not, so he does not fit in here and he does not belong. So if you're going to put words here, you're just going to add to cacophony here. All right, so let's try him some other places. All right, this one is better because there's plenty of negative space here for you to write around him. And you could potentially tint him to, which I did, so here he was originally. So when I made him more purple, it made it look like he was more part of the group, part of that background, instead of just being plopped on there, which he actually is. All right, now, the other thing to note is the rule of thirds. When you are taking pictures and some other art programs, you will see them put guidelines that essentially are a third, a third. It shouldn't be a shock to you that that's also how they cut up these blocks. They could have easily cut these into fourths, but the human brain is really good at looking at thirds. So he's on this third, and the words are on this third. There's no center element. So your main element, and then you have your words. Remember, you're trying to add more content, so he's a good main element. Next up, making the mistake of not remembering that English reads left to right. So if you want to confuse somebody, just move everything like this. I don't know what's going on this one. I'm confused too. That's bad. English reads left to right. You just can't do it that way. All right, so if you want to go back a little bit further, keep in mind the brain likes patterns and the rules of thirds. This all is staying on, mostly on this third. Their faces are actually cutting through this third right here. So you need to utilize these things when you're forming your message. Your brain is also really good at centered stuff, though obviously not centered over his ear. But they like stuff in the center. But if you put something in the center, that becomes the main element. And these people need to either like really move far away, or you've got to come up with like maybe you would split the two of them so one's on each side. The point is though, there's a pattern here. You got to make sure you're in with it. And if you don't believe me, this is the actual Amazon example that they give when you do A+ content. They're on one third. This is on another third. There's nothing in the center. This all is one image, or at least you assume it is. It's hard to, it looks like it is, or they added some stuff to make the warmth and everything like that. But you could easily do this with one image. But you see this is out of focus. Your one main element is right here. Now let's talk about something that we see happen all the time because they don't tell you how to create these images in a way that are good. I'm going to show you that in future videos. So originally what many people did is, knowing that this image is 970 by 300, people 300 plus 300 plus 300 equals 900. And then we'd take that to an image splitter and do this. That's exactly what I did here. I took this image and I cut it apart. Now, for things that are vertical, like his arm here, that's acceptable. All right, seems fine. Things that are not vertical look very choppy, and you can see her wrist here. You're like, something's wrong there. Maybe it broke. And then his brain is kind of floating further than you wish. But okay, it's doable. And obviously I couldn't tell where these words were going to line up because I wouldn't have done that. Okay, so it can look really choppy on desktop, but if it looks choppy on desktop, it's going to look worse on mobile because that extends this 25 pixel space to 50 pixels. And here we are. That's right. She totally snapped this arm. His up and down arm still looks fine. And yep, he got like a full lobotomy. They at least used the rule of thirds, but this looks even worse on mobile. And don't worry, then the mistakes get the worstest, if that is such a thing. So looking right here, I didn't know where this was going to cut off because there's no one to give you guidance. So look at this. His head is tolerable, but her face, no. No, no, no. And then you go to mobile. Do you remember seeing J-Lo in the movie The Cell where they had like the cut up horse? Yeah, something is going on here. Like this is a horror movie now and not like a sexy romance. So how do you fix this problem? Well, actually, there's a way to do this. So And you'll learn about how to do it in later videos, and I'll show you really quickly. And it'll take me about 200 seconds to do. But this can be done within about 30 seconds. I'll use a different image, but let me show you how to make this happen, and I'll start on a blank page. I'll make these people. Ready? This is where the real money is. That. So, see all of this? This is your background. You put that on. You put whatever your favorite other background, you put your favorite people on there. So let's find some people really fast. Come here, people. Oh, let's go back to these people. All right. So you put them on, you take a guess. All right. You know that their faces are going to need to be in the top third, so let's make that big. All right. Let's put some text on there. All right. I fell. Head over heels. Canva helps you find the center to make you line that up. So now you can say that's all lined up. And then you go and use the template object that I made for this. And when it pops in, it wants to connect where it needs to go. And look, her face is above. You know exactly where this wording is. It looks like I could kind of move this up a little bit, line it up better. I think that looks nice. And then you hit download. The end. I'm going to show you how to make all of this happen in the next couple of videos. You can join and subscribe to the channel, or you can volunteer to share one of my upcoming books on your newsletter, and I'll give you the link to the next video. Have a great day. This is Carina Alyce, an indie author first aid.